Let's see, day of the week check. It is Thursday. Happy Thursday. Now I've done my job. So just lying on your back. Close your eyes. Take a moment. Maybe you have time in the morning to wake up slowly and appreciate your breath and appreciate your body. Or maybe you're like me and you're woken up by something else, and then you hit the floor and you start moving before you're fully aware of what's going on. So either way, allow yourself this time. Drop the small of your back towards the mat, pulling your belly button in. Let your collarbone expand, taking your shoulders out a little wide. If it feels good to even take your arms out a little bit wider, do that. Your eyes are closed. Draw this breath in through your nose, out through your nose. And even though your stress level wasn't very high for most of you today, there's still this opportunity to rise up a little bit. So don't let a low stress state equate itself with a low energy state. Let a low stress state equate you with a high energy, happy and light state. So let there be a little smile on your face. Eyes are closed. Jaw is soft. Breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. Before you do anything else, I invite you to begin our practice today by offering gratitude for your body. That today you are healthy enough. You are strong enough. And you're taking this time to connect at a deeper level your body with your breath and your spirit. Thank you, body, for showing up for me today. Slowly bend your knees, draw your feet up, put your feet on the floor, and then bring the soles of your feet closer together, letting your knees open out towards the side. Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined bound angle. So your knees are bent in an angle, soles of the feet together. And here's where already you could start to prop yourself up if that's nice. So if you have your blankets, a little bit of an extra fold and a way to prop that up underneath your thigh so that your knee isn't just hanging as much in space can be nice. And draw your heels up towards your groin as much as you can, seeking a deeper stretch through the inner thigh and the hip flexor. Get your legs all settled, and then gently place one hand on your belly and one hand right over your heart. Keep your eyes closed. Find your breath. With each exhale, let everything that's already been weighing on you this week or keeping you busy, let it melt away. It's still going to be there. Take a little vacation from everything else and just be here right now. Exaggerate your breath so that you feel your belly inflate and feel your chest fall with each breath. If it feels good to take an exhale through the mouth, do that, but find a slow and steady breath here, rising and falling with the belly and chest. I invite you to dedicate your practice today to someone or something that you've loved or lost. When we do hip opening poses, there's a lot of energy that we hold in their hips. It's thought to be a place where we can have pent up emotions that we store as tension. Let's not run away from that, but embrace those feelings with love and compassion. Knowing that being a little bit broken is the only way that light can shine in. So if there's someone in your life that you have loved and lost, or something, an experience of a decade, an era of your life that you've loved and lost, I invite you to embrace that with tenderness and dedicate your practice to that person or that memory or lesson today. Take 2 more breaths here. Take your hands off your belly and your heart. Reach your hands up above your head and move your knees so that your feet come flat on the floor. Take a big stretch. Stretch as much as you can, arms reaching back above your head. Then drive through your heels. Press your hips up towards the sky. Take a bridge pose here. Toes are light. Hips are lifting. Knees parallel. If it hurts your shoulders or your neck, having your arms extended like this, then just relax your arms. You can even gently hang on to the edge of your mat. Otherwise, open through your shoulders by allowing your arms to reach back, palms up, hips lifting. I still have my eyes closed here, so you may also just fully in your body, feeling your legs start to fire up. Are you breathing? One more inhale, lift. Exhale, nice and slow. Lower all the way down as you sigh out. Get there and gently toss your knees side to side. Bring your hands back to your side. Bring your feet back to neutral. Hug your knees into your chest. Lift your shoulders a little bit and allow yourself to rock a little bit side to side. Pull your nose towards your knees. Pull your shoulders up. Little squeeze. And then exhale, set your shoulders down. Happy baby. Reach for the outsides of your feet. Knees bent. Pull your knees down towards your armpits. If this is too much, having both feet up, do one at a time. Keep one foot on the floor, knee bent, and then just pull that one leg down. We're not having a wrestling match here with ourselves, just finding opening. Think about having 90-degree bends from the ankles to the shins, and then another 90-degree bend from the knee to the thigh. All your awareness here in your legs and your hips. Breathe. All the stuff that you do, the sitting, the walking, the running, the squatting, open it all up right here. Maybe you rock a little bit side to side if you have that anchor of your hands on your feet. If you're doing one leg at a time, be sure you switch to the other leg. And then release your hands. Relax your feet. Roll all the way over onto your right side, extending your right arm underneath your head. So it's like you're rolling over like a sleeping position, knees bent. And then take your left, keep your whole right side of your body glued onto the mat, knees together, just reach your left arm back. So reaching your palm up, just opening through that shoulder. Reach your left arm back. Bring your left arm down, put your left hand on the mat, and then roll yourself over to the other side. Extend your left hand so you have a little landing pad for your head. Knees bent. Take your right arm up to the sky, and then just drop that shoulder back with a straight arm. Depending on your anatomy, some of you may go not very far at all from straight up, and some of you might go further, but we're keeping the whole left side of your body down. Open just through the shoulder. Good. Put your right hand down and sit all the way back up. Big breath in and shift so that now you get into your downward facing dog. Take a couple cat-cows here in your kneeling position. So hands right underneath wrists, knees about hip-width distance apart. So we started a little slow, guys, but we're gonna flow now. Chin to chest. So if your eyes were closed that whole time, wake up, open your eyes. Happy Thursday. Join me a couple of these cat-cows. Exhale, arch your back, pull your chin towards your chest, straight arms, push the mat away. And then inhale, scoop your chest, lift your chin, drop your belly, tailbone up. Exaggerate your breath here. Let me hear you breathing all together. So you exhale as you round your back, arching here. Inhale as you drop your belly button, lift your gaze. So we're not just showing up on the mat, wiggling around. It's intentional. That's yoga. This connection, deep connection, intentional connection of movement with breath. Awareness of the littlest things, like is your pinky finger pressing down into the mat as much as it could to give you grounding through your hands. One more of these. Good work. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, downward facing dog. Breathe in and breathe out. Shorten up that stance so that you can make yourself a nice V. You're not having to reach end to end of the mat. Always straight elbows so that your arms are nice and long. All right, guys. How's everybody doing? Feel good? Oh, yeah. So it's really a gift, right? After most of you have been showing up 9 weeks fairly consistently. What a gift when you show up and you get into a pose like down dog and it feels familiar. Softening your knees, pressing your heels down as much as you can. Let your chest drop. Good strong arms. One more breath here. Good. Relax to your knees. Relax the tops of your feet. Set your hips back. If it feels okay to sit all the way up and sit in this pose, so you're sitting on your heels, you can do that. If that doesn't feel good, then just rest your forearms in front of you and then just kind of like a child's pose, but keep your chest lifted just to stretch your hips back. If you're able to sit all the way up and that doesn't hurt your knees, it can, if you have really tight quads, this can be like, uh-oh, so don't do that so deeply. But if you are sitting up, you can clasp your hands behind your back with me. Take a little stretch here, pulling the heels of your hands together, shoulder blades together. Breathe in, breathe out. All right, come back to hands and knees. I'm going to give you two choices. You're either going to do downward dog and we're going to lift one leg, or if you're not steady and that doesn't feel good for you, then you're going to drop to your knees or forearms and knees and lift one knee and open through this hip. All right. So we're doing a hip opening. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, look at me and listen. From downward dog, I'm going to keep my left foot on the floor and lift the right leg. It does not have to lift all the way up to the sky. Bend your right knee and open through that hip. Look at my arms if you're looking at me. They're nice and strong and straight. And I'm pressing my left heel down, opening right heel and hip towards the sky. Big stretch through the hip. If this is too much in the shoulders, you're going to do the same thing, but with your left knee down. You don't even have to have weight on your wrists. You can have your forearms down and open your right knee up towards the sky. So lifting this way is not just straight up, it's like up and back. All right, so find what you're going to do. If you're already in down dog, opening that leg. Good. We're only here a couple more breaths. Open, open, open. Set your right foot down if you're in down dog. If you're on your hands and knees, come back to your hands and knees. And everybody, let's take a little break, child's pose. As a reminder, if your wrists are bothering you, then you've got these props today, so try it. You could lay this blanket out in a way that the fingers still make contact with the mat, but the fleshy part right here rests a little bit elevated, and that's going to take a little bit of the flexion and tension off of your wrists. So fingers still are on the mat. I have the blanket behind that so that this heel of my hand is elevated. All right, guys, let's do the other side. Breathe in, travel on your exhale, downward facing dog, or from your hands and knees, left leg lifts, bend your knee, open up your hip. So I'm allowing my left hip to open towards the ceiling. So I'm not dropping the left hip under, but taking it up and out. Big stretch through that outer hip. You guys feel this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Big stretch through that outer hip. Be mindful that your right foot, right leg stays centered and squared. Even if you're on your hands and knees, you're really lifting. One more breath here. Good. Everybody, left foot down, left knee down. Sit back on your heels if you can, or rest on your forearms and just press your hips back to the degree that you can towards your heels. Take a couple breaths here. Breathe in and breathe out. All right, we're going to do that again and add a little bit of like additional movement to that. All right. So if you're doing this from your hands and knees, then when I speak to stepping your right foot forward, then you're just going to go ahead and step that right foot forward from your lunge and then stand up, okay? If you're in down dog, you're gonna step your right foot through and get your right foot up there, even if it takes a couple extra skips and jumps to get there, okay? All right, belly in, hands and knees. Strong arms, all 10 fingers spread out wide. Where's your gaze? Be fully here in this four corners of the mat. Breathe in. Exhale, tuck your toes, push your hips back, downward facing dog. Breathe out. Steady on your left foot. Lift your right leg. Bend your right knee. Let your hip open. We're not here long, so if it was too long before, we're not here as long. Opening through the right hip. All right, from your knee or sweeping through, square your hips, pull your knee to nose, step your foot all the way through, and we'll stand all the way up. All right. Yoga goals, right, guys? All right, right foot forward, bend in the knee, left leg straight. Start scooting your right foot out towards the right edge of your mat so that you drop down here into this warrior one. So my back leg is bearing weight. My front knee is slightly bent. This is hip opening. If you don't feel this already, maybe you're very flexible in the hips, or maybe you need to widen your stance a little bit to the sides. But your left hip is going to have a tendency to want to pull back. In this warrior one, we're trying to shine both hips forward. Hands come to heart center with your gaze, or Reach all the way up, shoulders down away from the ears. Here you engage through the belly. Back foot really pressing into the floor. Breathe in, breathe out. Keep your belly as tight as you can. Take your right hand down, left hand back, and transition so that now you have your back foot more parallel, and this is warrior two. Now your hips can face the long edge of your mat. For some of you, that's a lot better. Relax into your front knee, strong back leg. Shoulders down, belly in. If you are poofing out through your butt, lift your chest, tuck that pelvis right underneath your ribs. Good, guys. Slowly straighten your right leg. Take your right hand out. Rest your right hand to your knee. Lift your left hand up towards the sky. This is step one towards triangle pose. So both legs are straight. Right hand comes to the knee. Left hand comes up towards the sky. Straight line from the shoulder. If you're okay here, start going further. Slide your right hand a little bit down further inside your shin, letting your body drop without ever letting your left shoulder concave or relax and fall towards the floor. You're between panes of glass here. Go to the place where you're in that zone where you feel it, but not where you're fighting. Only you know where that is. Are you breathing? If you're scrunching up your face, looking mean, stop. Relax. All right, use your breath. Inhale, lift with your left hand, rise all the way back up. Good work, guys. All right, sigh it out. Pivot your toes so you're facing the long edge of your mat. And slowly, using strong flat back, belly in tight, fold forward. Drop your head. If your hands reach the floor, find grounding there. If they don't, anchor your hands on the backs of your thighs, your calves. Make sure your toes are pointing straight ahead, like your feet are like the number 11, but out wide. Breathe. We like run away from stuff that's hard because we don't want to be broken. But guys, you got to be broken to be truthful. People like you better when you're a little bit broken because you're real. And each of you has had experiences that nobody else who doesn't understand what that's like wouldn't even believe. It makes you an amazing, diverse, charismatic person with a lot to offer, even if it's hard. All right. Hands to hips, use your belly, lift all the way back up, careful. All right, now you're gonna turn towards your left foot. Take that left foot facing what was the back edge of your mat. Soften into your front knee, make your back leg straight. So now we're doing warrior one on the left foot is forward. Take that left foot a little bit towards the edge of the mat. Whenever you get a wider stance, you're more stable. So you do not want to be kind of like crisscrossed in the front, like you were roller skating and pushing off the back leg, because then you're really unsteady and you're not really drawing that squareness and opening through the hips that you're seeking. So pull the right hip forward, square your shoulders, soften in here. Where's your gaze? What's happening with your hands? Heart center or up? Soft bend in the front knee. Strong squeeze through your right glute. Breathe here. Good. See if you can transition on your exhale. Drop your left hand forward. Exhale, drop your right arm back. Let your back foot come more parallel. Let your hips square now towards the long edge of the mat. Now you're in warrior two. Look over your left hand. Drop your shoulders, belly in. You're so strong. You showed up today. Each of you, I know you have to organize all kinds of stuff at home in order to make this time. So thank you for doing that. Breathe in, settle more, breathe out. Good. Keep your arms where they are. Straighten your left leg. Drop your left hand to your knee. Take your right arm straight up towards the sky. Look up. If this is like, okay, I'm good, no more, listen. But if you feel like you have a little room, you could be uncomfortable, not in pain. Start sliding your left hand down, keeping this right arm straight up. So this, you're feeling this, you guys, you should be feeling this through the right hip. Some of you are also going to feel this a lot through your hamstrings and back of the legs, yes? Yes. So my left hand is not dead. So spark those fingers strong, even though the left hand is down, it's helping me to hold up. Lots of oblique strength here, also reaching. Breathe, no collapsing through the right shoulder. Good, slide all the way back up. If you weren't breathing, I think you should start now. That's nice. Turn your toes to the long edge of your mat. Take a big breath in, lift your chest, maybe go back just a little bit, and then exhale. Enjoy that forward fold. Drop your head. Sigh it out. If you're here and it feels good and you have stability, you can kind of bend one knee, shift your weight that way, bend your knee the other way, shift that way. You don't have to go all the way to the floor. It can be slight. The wider your feet, the more likely your hands will reach the floor, but that does require some, flexibility through those inner thighs. So find your spot. Good, come back to neutral. With a flat back, put your hands on your hips. Toes are on the mat, heels driving, rise all the way back up. Interlace your hands behind your back, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Lift your chest, press your hip bones forward, gaze up. So this is still hip opening, right? So you don't always have to be in some twisty pretzel position to open. Look at how your whole anatomical chain is connected. If we open through our shoulders, then we open through the back. If we open through the hips, we open through the backs of the legs. If you're tight in the backs of your heels, then it's harder to press your thighs forward. So it's all connected, guys. Breathe in, come back to neutral. All right, mindfully walk your feet back together. Come to the top of your mat, big breath in. Exhale, take your hands through heart center, find your forward fold. Soften your knees on the way down. Let your head hang. If your feet reach the floor, see if you can have grounding by reaching for your big toes with your peace fingers and hook them on there. If you're like, haha, that's funny, then just grab opposite elbows, let your head hang. No big deal. Chin to chest, crown of your head there, knees soft. If you've got the bind of peace fingers on big toes, then you can have a softness in your knees. Take your elbows out, crown of your head pulling down. Lots going on through the backs of the legs here. Breathe. Yeah? All right. Okay, well, Chris, even more fun is coming because now we're going to move our way into lizard pose, which I know for some of you is your favorite. All right. So, mindfully, carefully, bend your knees enough that you can step your left foot back and drop your back knee. Right foot stays on the floor. If you need to get there from your hands and knees, come to your hands and knees, get neutral, and then step your right foot forward. Scooch it up, scooch it up, scooch it up, and scooch that left foot back. I want you to feel right here already like, okay, I'm being stretched. You're being stretched out of your comfort zone. Not hurt, stretched. All right, this is where your pillow and your support can be a little bit nice. If this is a lot of pressure on the back knee, adjust. Use some support underneath that back knee. That's going to elevate and help you. Okay.
Front one.
If it's too much on the front one, take your foot out wider and bring your heel back a little bit more. This front knee is lifted and you can elevate your back knee. All right, big stretch through both hips. If your hands are like, it's hard to reach the floor, elevate here. Bring your hands up higher. Roll up your towel or your blanket so that you have a little bit of height to rest here.
Oh,
All right, this may be as far as you go.
slightly.
Your challenge is to like just stay here, stay with it, breathe a little bit. Know that the first time you did this, it was harder than this. So we've shown up here before, breathe with it. If you're okay here and you want to go further, you're going to start to find a way where you can bring your forearm, one or both down, or rest your right hand on your inner thigh. This is very challenging, guys. This is a big stretch. But what is not stretching us right now, right? Just because our stress level's low, it's kind of because like a lot of stuff that we used to do has closed down, fallen away. Let's not let our expectations of what we're able to do fall away as well. Always pushing, always growing just a little bit. Breathe here. If this is really hard for you, this is a great pose. This is such a huge opportunity. You breathe steady. Life is going to throw you crazy shit. You got to just breathe steady. This is your practice. All right, if you're suffering, you can start to make your way out of this. If you're okay, stay here a couple more breaths. The way you get out is to lift up your chest in theory. All right, and then straighten out that front leg. So let's all move to that. Straighten out your front leg. Rest your chest towards your thigh.
Oh, that's supposed to be better.
Breathe here. All right. Give your right leg some love. Swing it back behind you. Take your toes to touch. Take a supported child's pose. So if you have your blanket handy, roll it up so your chest is going to land on it. Take your knees out a little wide, toes to touch, and just relax down. And use that blanket as a landing zone for either your forehead or your chest. If that doesn't really help you, the other thing that can be nice is to take this rolled up blanket and put it kind of behind your knees so that when you sit back on it, you don't have to have as much tension there, and you can have a little resting pad, little pillow between the backs of your calves and the backs of your thighs. Reset here. Breathe in, breathe out. All right, walk yourself back up. Go ahead and be aware that you might want this blanket underneath your right knee, so have it where you might be able to reach it. All right, your choice how we get here. You can come from hands and knees, or from your down dog if you want the practice of stepping your left foot forward. We're taking lizard on the left. So stepping your left foot forward. What we do on one side, we must do on the other, right? All right. Or from down dog, gaze first forward. Take your left foot forward. Scooch it up there. Scoot your right foot back. Again, just like when you were in this warrior one, you want a little bit of a width in this stance. Width meaning side to side. So left foot going a little bit more towards the left edge of the mat. Breathe here. So you're starting to be like so much more familiar with your body. Maybe you never did stuff like this before because it didn't seem right. I know for many years I had this idea that if it was uncomfortable, it must not be good for me. And I don't really actually think that's true. I think that we grow a lot when we get ourselves into something that's a little bit uncomfortable. But for many years, I believed that with all my heart. So I stayed in a very safe, narrow lane. Lizard pose is outside of that safe, narrow lane. See if you can drop down any further. This may be as far as you go. One hip is different than the other. As Chris was saying yesterday, maybe they're getting even more different. That's okay. You'll notice that here as well, that one side may be different than the other.
Won't stick it further down.
Drop your forearms to the mat if you can, or to a pillow, or just soften your gaze, let your head relax. You may take your left hand, gently anchor on the inner left thigh.
Oh.
Smile, breathe. This is a gift. It is. You're opening up, cracking open those spaces that have been tight and holding things. Come back up. Gently. Make your way so that you straighten out your left leg. A support under your right knee is very nice. Left leg straight, left toes lift. Let your chest relax towards your knee. Let your head hang. If you haven't breathed for like the last 5 minutes, then go ahead now. There you go. There's your breath. All right. Swing your left foot back. Sit back on your heels or take a child's pose. Okay, guys, we're going to do frog. All right, I'm going to give you a couple options. So if you're super challenged in lizard, then realistically, a half frog on your belly is probably going to be the best place for you. So let's go there first. Everybody can play with this also to see how you feel. Slide your hands forward, relax all the way down onto your belly on the mat. Cross your forearms so you have a little pillow for your head. And then keeping your left foot grounded, top of your left foot resting on the mat, left knee on the mat, you're going to bend your right knee and slide your right knee up towards your right elbow. Once you're here, flex your right foot and take that ankle out a little bit. Imagine those like splayed open frog legs. So this is half frog on your belly. If this already gives you a pretty intense stretch through your right inner groin and other places, you may just want to stay here and settle into that. If you're like, no, I'm good, I could do more, keep your knee there. See if you can actually, well, no, don't keep your knee there. Come back around. Let's go into the full thing. So if you're good, you stay there. You're going to stay there a little bit longer. Otherwise, this is where your support under your knees can be nice. Take your knees out really wide, like you were going to do child's pose, but take your feet out. So rather than having your toes to touch, knees come out wide towards the edges of your mat and feet go out. Like you're kneeling in tabletop. Then start to drop your hips back and drop onto your forearms. Did some of you see I sent you a video on Facebook of somebody doing this? And he just dropped his hips all the way flat to the floor. Like that's what you love about yoga, right? People do it and they're like, just drop your hips. All right, so this is getting us into more of a full frog here. So if you have just on your belly the one leg up, you can go ahead and switch. If you are with me, let me remind you again, took the knees out wide, flex the feet out instead of toes in, flex the feet out. It can be kind of intense on the knees. So this is where the blankets underneath your knees are nice. Drop your forearms to the floor, and then you just push your hips back towards your heels. We're not going to stay here 45 minutes. We're not even going to stay here 2 minutes. All right? So you can stay. You can stay here. Breathe. There are harder things that you will have to deal with this week than doing frog. But when there's intensity, we run away. Settle down. Find your breath. Remember, you dedicated your practice today to someone that you've loved and lost, and you are strong because of that experience, and you are steady, and you may be broken, but that has made you have even more light. The Chinese, I forget the term, but there's a term for when they actually love something that's broken and then it's been mended because they believe that it is now stronger and it has more character. So unlike some of us Western societies, we throw everything away. Once it's broken, they mend it back together and then they treasure it even more. I know you're still here in frog. I hope you're breathing. All right, that's it. Come on up. Find yourself either sliding forward or there's no graceful way to really get out of that. Come back out here. All right, good job, guys. That's a pinnacle pose of the hip openers for sure, huh? Set down on your hips, move the fleshy stuff out of your sitting bones if you need to. Straighten out your legs in front of you. You can have a little softness or even a blanket underneath your knees if you find that that's hard to extend your legs in front of you. Inhale, lift your chest, and then exhale. Slide your hands down the fronts of your legs just to the point that you can. Find an anchor. Maybe it's your toes, maybe it's your heels, maybe it's your knees, maybe it's the backs of your thighs. Find an anchor on the back of your legs. Stay here. Think of telescoping your neck. So instead of crunching everything down, creating too much pressure through the upper body, extend your chest forward, dropping your belly towards your thighs. Breathe here. So all this hip opening, let this be something that had meaning for us today. If there's something you need to let go of, lay it down. At least for the rest of today, stop carrying it around. Stop letting it drag you down. Breathe in.
I apologise, I put myself on mute.
You're good, Alana. We didn't hear anything. All right, inhale, roll all the way back up. Put your feet on the ground. All right, remember we did this yesterday, guys? Last thing before we lay down on our back, sit up nice and tall. Option 1, sit up tall, hold the backs of your knees, lift your chest. Option 2, lift one leg, flex your foot, bend your knee. Chest still lifted, so no concaving through the back. Option 3, lift both knees. Option 4, let go. Wherever you are, stay here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees to your chest, roll onto your back. Hooray. You made it back to your mat on your back. Take the soles of your feet together. Supta Baddha Konasana, knees out wide. Breathe in. Breathe out. Place a hand on your belly, hand on your heart. Close your eyes. I'm so thankful for you setting aside this time. If there are days when you don't really feel like showing up, know that I'm showing up for you, and you showing up is incredibly important to me and incredibly important to these other friends in your community. That it's a gift to be seen. Breathe in, breathe out. If your mind starts traveling to the things that you have to do 5 minutes from now, stay here. Let those thoughts pass by like you were watching clouds moving through the sky. You don't need to follow them to the end of the earth. Just let them pass. Relax your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Open your jaw a little bit, but keep your lips closed. See if you can hear your inhale. How long can you make your exhale? If you lengthen your inhale through your nose, can you exaggerate your exhale through your nose? Here you are changing your respiratory rate, shaping the way your body responds. Know that your breath is a constant anchor. If you had someone special that you dedicated your practice today, let their energy be a reminder to you to appreciate the people that are around you now. To tell them that you love them, to be tender, to give them space, to have the courage to reach out. If you're still in Supta Baddha Konasana with knee, come out of that. Bring your knees up towards the ceiling. Walk your heels in a little bit closer. Take your feet out wide. Drop your knees to the right and then knees to the left. So a little supine twist. You can take as much time as you need, hanging on slowly on each side, or just a little bit more movement, windshield wiper side to side. Finally, extend your legs out long. Take your arms out by your sides. If you like that connection of finger to thumb, symbolizing an energetic connection and grounding, you can do that. Or just let your palms relax, arms relaxed by your sides, hands open, eyes gently closed. No tension in the neck or neutralize your chin. Take your final rest. Breathe here. Remember me when I'm gone away, gone far away into the silent land.
when you can no more hold me by the hand, nor I half turn to go, yet turning stay. Remember me when no more day by day you tell me of our future that you planned. Only remember me, you understand. It will be late to counsel then or pray. Yet if you should forget me for a while and afterwards remember, do not grieve. For if the darkness and corruption leave a vestige of the thoughts that once I had, better by far you should forget and smile than that you should remember and be sad. We dedicate our practice today to those that we may have loved and lost, and also to this experience that we share with each other, knowing that change is constant. A reminder to live more in the present with as much love and tenderness and compassion as we can. When you're ready, you can make your way up to a seat. Keep your eyes closed, bring your hands to heart center. I'm so grateful to each of you. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste.
Namaste.